Hello guys, and welcome to Daddy Share Space, and welcome to my garage shop. So today I'm going to show how to install the CT Cyclone onto the 18 volt CT Midi dust extractor. So let's get that done. Okay, so first off, let's take a close look at the CT Midi and try to get an idea of how it's going to attach. Now we see that we have the T-lock right here, and as a result, that's showing me that that's the side that's going to have to face the connector that is right here on the bottom. So if you take a look there, you can see that there's a connector here, and then if you turn it back around, you see that there's no ability to connect. Now if you look at the CT, at the Cyclone, you can see that it has these tabs here that you can connect, and I showed those in a previous video of how it attaches to the CT48. There is no way to connect this to the CT Midi in that same fashion, so we are stuck with having to use it with the T-lock. So that means that it's only going to actually connect on one side, so it's going to have the ability, you're not going to be able to pick this vacuum up by this Cyclone feature. So taking a look at the top of the vacuum, you see you have these indentations here, up here, here, and here, and then there's a little spot back here. Now I believe that is going to correlate. If I take a look at the bottom of this, you see these notches here. There's one here, one here, one here, and one here, and those are going to sit in those holes or those indentations on the bottom. So we'll slide this up and see how it fits on, and that seems to be where it is. So you can see now the vacuum is in place. I can kind of slide it back and forth and move it about without it shifting off, but obviously I can just lift it up to take it off. So in order to lock it in, we're going to turn this T-lock, and now it's all locked in, but you can see there's a degree of tipping going in this direction here. Now if you take a look at what the problem is here with this particular setup, is our hose openings are right here, and so the one that's going to go to the vacuum is here, and this is the hose that comes with the CT Midi here, and we've got a right angle and a straight. Now on the CT48, the right angle actually goes into the front of the machine, but on this one we'll have to kind of determine and see what works best. So we know now how it sits on the machine. Now we have to figure out how to connect this. Now that's where we take a look here, and you see that the orientation of the T-lock is on this side, but the orientation of the top T-lock is on the opposite side. So we're gonna have to change that. So what we'll do is we'll come back in here, looking at the buckles, we're gonna unbuckle here. We're gonna pop this out, and then we're going to turn the vacuum around like this, and then we're going to unbuckle and pop this out, and then that's going to give me the ability to just lift this up, rotate it 180 degrees, pop it down, and then we will first attach the bottom and click it on, and then pop this back up like that. We'll rotate it around again, pop it on, and connect that like that. So that's how it's installed if we want to put it on the CT Midi. Now we have to figure out how to run the hose. Now what we have to do is take it all the way off for right now, so we can take a look and see at how we're going to connect the hose. So I'm going to take it off. We're going to take a look down inside of the vacuum here. So let me open it up. And then taking a closer look at the inside of the vacuum here, we can see our opening right here. And then the hose is going to stick down in here and then face out the front in this direction. When we take our hose, which we have here, and we come over to the vacuum to try to plug it in, if we try to plug it in like it is on the larger vacuum, the 48, it doesn't really want to go in. If you take a look at what I'm trying to do here, there's a beveled end down here going into the, let me move that over a bit. Let me try to turn this around the other way. All right, so if you take a look at the hole here, so right now the vacuum hose is gonna come out this way. So when I try to put this in, it doesn't have enough length going this way in order to plug down into the hole. So what I'm gonna have to do is use the opposite end here and plug it straight down, and it fits perfectly. And then once I have it plugged in, I'm able to run the hose out this direction. Once I run the hose out the front, out of this direction, then I can go ahead and close up the vacuum, and then I'll reconnect the T-lock. All right, so now we'll turn the vacuum to the side so you can take a look here, and we'll get a good look at that T-lock. So we see the T-locks here, and we have this orientation set up to where the actual T-lock connector is here. We'll set it on top like we did before. We'll get it snugged in. And that's where it is. So it sits, if you notice, there's a lot of space in the back, and there's very little space in the front of the machine here. So that's how it connects. So now we'll take the hose that we have here, we'll turn it around, and this is the side to the vacuum, and we'll plug it in here. So this is how it's going to be connected, and then we come back with our regular hose. We plug in our regular hose right here in the front, and now we are ready to do our vacuuming. So I can turn it on at the power down here, and actually got to put batteries in there. So this is going to bring me to the first issue that I wanted to show. So first and foremost, we notice with this CT Midi that it actually attaches to the Midi differently than it attaches to the 48 liter. It's only connected by the single T-lock, so that means you're not going to be carrying it around by this handle. So that's something to keep in mind. The other problem that you're going to run into, which I think is kind of a decent deal. Now, right back here on the back, right here on the back, this is our battery compartment. This is where we're going to put our batteries into our battery powered dust extractor. So let's go ahead and put batteries in it, right? So I hit the button, and as we see here, we see our problem. I'm not going to be able to put batteries in here with this in place. So you'll have to keep in mind that every time you use this vacuum with this particular Cyclone, every time you're going to have to be mindful of the hoses, and you're going to, so right now I don't have the T-lock in place, so it's kind of slipping about. But like, so my T-lock, let's get it back where it's supposed to be, which is closer towards the front, and my T-lock is engaged. So this is how it's going to be. So what I'm going to have to do when I want to change the batteries or put batteries in, I'm going to take this off, and I'm going to have to pull this whole thing off. I have to be mindful of the hose. You see how it's connected. So I have to decide if I feel like this is going to put too much strain on the device. I'm going to need to unplug this every time from both. Take this all the way off like this. Then I have access to my battery tray. So let's go ahead and pop some batteries in there. Now with my batteries installed, I'll go ahead and put the Cyclone back together. Remembering to to move it more towards the front. That lines it up. And now I'll take this hose and I'll plug it in the front like this. I'll take my regular hose and plug it in. And now I can power up my vacuum and fire it up. What's the problem? Do you guys know? It's a simple one. This is my 36mm hose that goes to this vacuum. So I have to get the hose that's actually paired with this device, which is not attached, but is right here. So as you can see there in the camera, you can see that it's actually working as far as suction is concerned. I did not find it to be, I didn't find the suction power to be diminished by any large amount. So I think it's fine to use it in this configuration. I don't think it'll be a bad idea for me to use it like this in the shop, simply because it will save me money on bags. Now, I'll look at the cost of bags and kind of weigh that out. Do I want to just fill up the bags and toss them away? Or do I want to utilize this Cyclone on here, or even invest in a second Cyclone to put on this vacuum so that when I use it about in the shop? Now, I think if this was a corded Midi, for certain, I would put one of these on here and, you know, just plug it in and use it. But I think the fact that we have this battery compartment down here that can't be accessed with this in place, that is kind of a challenge for me. And I don't know if there's any, if Festool will come out with any kind of adapter that will raise this up in such a way where it where you could actually have access. Here again, I don't have the T locked in, but even still, I mean, it's okay. I mean, let's see if I can kind of pull it about with that on there. Yeah, it seems to work. Like if I wanted to pull it around, you know, because it is a cordless vac, and I do have the ability to kind of move it about in the shop in this manner, and it doesn't seem to be seem to act like it's going to come off. So yeah, that's the CT Midi with the Cyclone installed. Hopefully you found this information helpful if you were considering buying either the CT Midi corded or cordless and wanting to use it with the Cyclone to possibly save money on bags or whatever. But the bottom line is you do have to consider the fact that the battery cannot be accessed without going through the process of taking things off, removing the Cyclone altogether, so you can access the battery compartment. Alright guys, thanks for taking time to watch the video. I'll see you in my next one. Take care.